Hey guys, welcome. We're on site today with JDS Home Improvement. We're talking egress windows. An egress window is a window that allows a safe and legal exit from a basement in the event of fire or emergency. It brings a lot of other advantages, and again, we're in a remodeling environment here today in an existing home. This isn't new construction. So what we see, very common, this is the original, very small builder grade basement window. So a couple of problems immediately come to the fore. Again, very little natural light, keeps the basement very dark. And on top of that, most importantly, there's no way to escape this basement in the event of fire or emergency that blocks off the stairwell. So what we're going to do today, JDS is going to excavate the outside. You can see they've already started their work. The new window, instead of ending here, it's going to go from here all the way down to about this midpoint on the wall so that anybody can easily open up the window, climb out to safety. And on the outside, they're going to dig away from the building 44 to 50 inches, sometimes more. It all depends on the site and the setting of the egress window. We also can build custom egress windows with stone, you name it. Today, we have a prefabricated well that we're going to lower from the outside. When we're done, you're going to see not only a safe exit from the basement, gobs of natural light finally coming in will really do this basement justice. And in the end, the homeowner can also call this a finished bedroom to add to the value of the home. Pretty typical installation in a remodeling environment. This has really become a popular way for homeowners to improve their home and add value to it. What's really important in an egress window installation, especially in a remodeling environment here, we've got a couple things working. There's a very, very small window well, pretty common. It's a builder grade window well that was put in probably 20 years ago. Very little natural light can sneak through, and most importantly, there is no actual legal egress point for the building. That basement cannot be used as a bedroom, and in case of emergency, a human being cannot escape through there. So for safety reasons, egress windows have become very popular, but for aesthetic reasons, the amount of natural light that's let in from an egress window actually reinvents a basement. Jordan from JDS Improvements is here with us this morning to tell us a bit more about the process.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Jordan. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So basically what you said is accurate here. We're going to be putting in a egress compliant, code compliant egress for this client here. We're going to be using our base package system, and we have many different systems to meet code requirements. Basically we just have to abide by several different rules and regulations, as far as one being we need at least 5.7 square feet of net clear opening on the window itself. So I like to bump it up to usually about 6, which our window is today is our minimum size window that meets egress. But obviously, you know, the sky's the limit. We can move up to larger windows, a lot more light, sliding glass windows. Could even do doors. So, but in this application, the client just needs access to get out from the basement. She's, I think, moving one of her children downstairs, and obviously is concerned, doesn't want it to be a dangerous environment. In case of an emergency, she needs her son to have a way out of the basement. Again, we're just adhering to a set of guidelines as far as code compliance for egress, which means in the well itself we need a minimum of 9 square feet net clear opening. There can't be any obstruction within 36 inches. So we want to really, you know, obviously fall into those sets of codes. If we were making a custom-made well, we'd you know, just make it accordingly to the codes and obviously whatever the client's needs are. But I think our goal today is to get this tree out of the way. Obviously, can't do it with that there. And then we'll excavate here. We dig all the way down to the footer. Some companies will actually just dig down to the bottom of the window plus 6 inches and do what they call is a pilot hole, which is actually a post hole dig down to the footer looking for the drain, which really is asking for problems. An oversized excavation, although it's a lot more work and a lot more dirt coming out, it really is more important for 2 reasons. Number one, we're looking for a foundation drain at the bottom really to acquire proper drainage to make sure this well will never flood into the basement. And secondly, if there isn't any drain, because you never know until you get down there how this builder did things. That probably in this neighborhood it was, you know, I imagine there is a foundation drain, but say if there wasn't, we excavate the hole oversized for the well, about a foot bigger than the well itself everywhere. And that allows us to backfill with about 2 tons of gravel, which in and of itself creates a French drain. It's kind of a fail-safe to you know, stop any water infiltration in the event of a lot of rain or groundwater. So anyways, I think that you know, ready to move to the next step. So
they've got their work cut out for them. Next step is the digging. My equipment here. We're going to get ready to prep through the cut of the wall and the concrete slab wall. This is a ring saw blade. You see this blade is a special blade. It's driven by the back of the saw instead of the middle, so we get a 10-inch penetrating depth on this piece of equipment, and we can do the whole cut from the outside. So this blade goes on this saw, this is a hydraulic ring saw. This is also a ring saw, but it's a gas-powered ring saw. The difference of these machines is that this one is a lot lighter. No fumes next to the cut area, and it's driven by this hydraulic power pump here that really has a tremendous amount of torque that drives the blade. So both of these are one and the same. They just have a different power source. The last piece of equipment that we're going to use today is this gas-powered concrete chainsaw. The reason why this is necessary is because as you can see, the penetrating depth here is 17 inches, whereas this only gets 10 inches. We get a good amount more of cutting depth here, and this also is great for cutting the corners. You can get a very clean corner cut on the slab wall, so also very important. So now we're done with the cutting. We actually finished the last little bit with the concrete chainsaw, and we saw after we did the corners, we saw that block drop, so we know it's completely disconnected. And now I'm going to go inside and start beating the top corners to relieve the pressure off of the block, and then the whole thing will come out of the house here. So push it out. 1, 2, 3. Up. I'm going to make a we'll speed it up so much. Watch out for the top there. It's a wrap. So the bottom cut, and I didn't explain this before, but you want about a 5 to 10 degree downward pitch angle on it. So when I'm cutting that bottom section, I actually hold the saw, let the saw sag down a little bit to create an angle, which allows water, if there ever was water dripping down here and coming down the edge, it wouldn't run into the house. It's going to hit that 10-degree angle and come back out. So here we are, day 2 on our retrofit egress window installation. Yesterday, just to recap, we got the holly tree removed, we did the excavation all the way down to the footer, we found our drain tile, we're going to tie into that today, and then the last thing we did last night was install this structural framing for our inspection this morning. As you can see, we have our 3 LVL glue lam header, supported by jacks, king studs here, and then also on the inside next we're going to install our framing to bring this out flush with the drywall finished opening here.
Hold in, it's good for the video.
Okay guys, it's been 3 days of digging and cutting as you've seen and followed along. Now for the fun part, finished product. Jordan's going to explain to us as we look from the outside in. We're going to take you inside next, but Jordan, give us a tour of what you've done here.
So basically, we're trying to adhere to a certain set of county guidelines to meet egress codes. So we have a minimum set of measurements that we have to adhere to. As far as the well goes, it's 9 square feet minimum. So basically this well is the smallest or the minimum well package that I offer. The sky's the limit where we could put a much larger well. I have a pre-manufactured well called rock well. We could also use timbers, cedar, or stone and build a custom-made well. Basically, we just need to adhere to the guidelines, and if we do that, you can do anything. You can even do a walkout door and concrete steps. So here is basically just the minimum package to make the basement safe and to make it adhere to the minimum code requirements.
Very good. Okay, guys, let's take it on the inside, and we'll see what we've done looking from the inside out. Okay, guys, end of day 3, as promised, the best part, the finished product, looking from the inside out. Remember the difference. When we first started on day 1, you might recall I pointed out, remember it was just that original builder grade window, started about here, ended here. There's no way you can physically get through that window to get out in case of emergency. Jordan and his team came in 3 days, knocked it out. Look at the great work. So now the window starts here. As you saw yesterday, they did a cut all the way down to here. This is a custom window well that they put in. Now watch the operation from the inside. If you needed to get out, a simple lever comes up. You can climb right outside the window, and you can see there's a ladder system. Bing, 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 and you're out, okay, to safety. You can close this. It also can be used as just a normal window. There's a screen inside. You pop this open. You can get all kinds of a cross breeze and natural air down here in the basement, which is often needed. So we'll close this back down. Jordan, looks great. If you want, give us a synopsis of the work. I know in this case it was 3 days. This, as Jordan mentioned, this is more of an entry-level package. There were some restrictions in terms of the width, the building configuration, and on the outside, the setback from the property line. They can be done in all different widths and sizes. There's a lot of custom applications for this. But again, walk us through it. Looks like all that's left is just the touch-up paint, and I think we're looking good, and it's project closed.
Absolutely. So, yep, we're pretty much wrapped up here. And one thing that you didn't mention, it's important to be able to get out. Mm-hmm. Also, super important for a fireman or emergency personnel to be able to get in with gear. So that is another thing that this window will allow access to the basement if if there are even pets or anybody down here. So. But other than that, in an emergency situation, it's also, day-to-day use, it's very nice, lets the natural light in, like you said. You can open the window, just use the bottom for ventilation if you like. You can use the sill here for, a window seat, and you can even sit down on it if you like. But again, I think you mentioned this as well, but it's kind of our minimum package. We're a little bit restricted with the size constraints of the window we could install because of the size of the area of this room right here. But other than that, 3 days, done deal. Safe basement and another happy client.
Yeah, well done. Jordan, give us a demo on how the window works. Let's take it out.
All right, guys. Thanks for having us.
It's that easy. Door closes, latch goes down, basement fully secure. Thanks for following along for the last 3 days. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.